Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so very much for being here. I'm so happy to have you. In today's video, we are going to be tackling my physical TBR. Quick little recap if you haven't watched my first episode of tackling my physical TBR. In the beginning of the year, I made a few goals of putting myself on a book buying ban, just being more intentional with my buying, and just tackling my physical TBR. Just making sure that I just pick off books from my bookshelf so that I can slowly but surely make my TBR smaller and smaller. In this video, I brought you guys along with 3 books. To be honest, I was going to completely just delete this entire video and just like start again with another reading vlog. But I thought, you know what? Not every single reading vlog goes smoothly the way that you want it and everything's fine and dandy. That's not always what happens, at least for me. So I thought, you know what? Instead of me always just showing the good times with reading, why not show the times when I DNF a book, when I'm not really in the mood of reading and 2 weeks goes by and I'm not picking up a book, or when I accidentally delete freaking clips of my video. Still a little upset about that one. Why not still just put the video together and share it with you guys? I still had so much fun making this video. I love bringing you guys along with my reading vlogs and just my reading journeys. So I hope you enjoyed just as much as I enjoyed making this video. So in this video, we have like a nice realistic chatty reading vlog. The 3 books that I brought you guys along with is My Body by Emily Ratajkowski, Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score, and The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I had so much fun bringing you guys along for my reading vlog, so now the next time you see me, I will be reading one of these books. I just read chapter 1. Tell me why I'm a little hesitant on it already, because Lena is Knox, who is the main male character in the first book. Lena is Knox's ex. So Nash, our main character in this book, has a crush on his brother's ex-girlfriend. Very weird. They did say like long time ago ex, like when Knox and Lena were in college. I don't know if I like it. Nash was already checking out Lena in the first chapter and like checking her out, you know, like looking at her butt, and I'm like, this is your brother's ex-girlfriend. Like, this is weird. I don't really like that. I also don't like how he immediately checked her out in the first chapter. But girl, I mean, like, make me wait a little bit. Like, you already are gonna give me a little something in the first chapter. Like, no. I am really big with slow burns, or at least just like waiting a little bit. Girl, no, that's not what we're gonna do. She's literally chewing on my, girl, she literally was chewing on my twinkle lights that I have on here. Leave. I do like the little like comments or like little conversation that Nash and Lena were having. Like, Lena seems a little witty and has like good commentary, and like she's quick to her feet, like she knows what to say next sort of thing. Like, she's a little sassy, and like I liked that. But I just can't get over how this is the brother's ex-girlfriend. I'm gonna not ignore it, but I'm gonna acknowledge it. But I'm also just gonna move past it and like not let that ruin it completely. And I'm gonna just have fun with this. You know, this is just for pure enjoyment. So like, let me not read into it that much. I feel like there's some potential. Learn to pronounce. Potential. I feel like this book has potential. Okay. Also, it's pink. I can't get over it. It's so freaking cute. Nothing like it being 6:22 and there's still sun out. It feels amazing. I've been feeling like this and I was like, maybe I should just wait until I'm at the 50% mark.
but I feel like just like talking to you guys, to be honest, and just like telling you guys my opinion, because I'm also curious if it's going to change or if it's just gonna stay like this. But this is what I've been feeling. I'm on page 241. I'm exactly 40% through the book, and these are my feelings. Like, this is the way that I'm like interpreting the book. So like, if you don't take it this way, like, that's completely fine. Like, this is just the way that I'm taking it. My vibe of Lena, this is what I picked up on, is that she's not ready to be in a relationship. She like doesn't want to be in a relationship. Like, she doesn't know, like, she's on the fence. She's not open to talking about her personal life, her job, her childhood, just like herself. And Nash is on the opposite spectrum, where he is wanting a relationship. He's wanting for Lena to open up, and he's wanting to know about her childhood. She has said, like, I'm not ready to talk. And Nash is pushing her and hasn't been respecting her boundaries, and hasn't just been like letting her be and just wait for her. Let's keep reading. Let's see what happens. It is time for some book talk. I literally finished the entire book on my trip to New York City, and I completely forgot that I was doing a reading vlog and did not update you guys once, or record my reaction, or just like do a reading vlog, and I beat myself up about it. But listen, I was traveling, I just completely forgot about it. Like, I was on the plane, I was on the train reading this, and the thought of like vlogging completely was out of my mind. I even thought about just like completely scratching like the first half of this video and not talk about this book and just pick another book to talk about. But I was like, it's fine. I still do want to give you guys my review and talk about this book. I was traveling while reading this book, and you need a book that is going to grab your attention, hold it for however long your travel is, and not make you sleepy, not make you bored, make you intrigued to where you're not even thinking about the fact that you are passing through pages. I'm going like this because you had to, that's for the Kindle to change the whatever. This book did that. I was not bored one single time. I wasn't, you know, like wondering when the book was going to end. Of course, there was times where I was checking how many hours I had left on the book. It was super satisfying when I was traveling. When I would check, it would go from like 6 to 5 to 4 to 3. So that's super satisfying. But besides the fact, like, I wasn't waiting for it to be over, you know? It had me hooked. Like, I was interested, I cared about what was going on. It also, like, it was a romance book, but there was also more. Our main character, Nash, is a police officer, and we're following the story that happened in the first book, Things We Never Got Over, with Knox and Naomi. Some things happened to those characters and Nash too in the first book, and we are following that story. It's not even like a mystery or really, but Nash is following a case, and it's very personal to him. Like, he's involved in the case. With that being said, there was definitely times where I didn't really agree with Nash. I didn't really like the way he approached things at times. I felt that there was times where he was very like invasive, or just like very not needy, but like pushy to be in a relationship with Lena, when Lena very much had a lot of things to work through. And even when she would be like, I'm not ready to talk about it, he was like really like nagging and like pushing her to where she had to then talk about it. And then it ended up backfiring. There was just a lot of times, no, I shouldn't even say a lot. After I updated you guys where I was getting annoyed with Nash, I feel like after that, he didn't annoy me. With that being said, I enjoyed the book. I think that I would rate this book probably like a 4.5 or maybe even a 4.7. I think maybe a 4.5 because there was times where Nash annoyed me. Lucy Score does a really good job writing and like holding your attention the entire time, and she makes you end up like caring about the storyline. For it to be over 500 pages and a romance book, you have to make sure that you don't drag the story and make it boring, and she didn't do that at all. So I'm really happy with this book. I am pretty satisfied, and honestly I have been thinking about the third book in the series a lot. I'm so excited to read about Lucien and Sloane's story. I have heard people say that they were a bit disappointed with the third book, but still I'm really excited, especially because reading about Lucien and Sloane in this book, it just makes me so excited to actually get them like their own book. Also, sorry, I can talk and talk about this book. I love the found family aspect with Knox, Naomi, and Waylay and the dogs. I love Naomi's parents in the book. We also have Naomi's best friend. I can't remember. Even her best friend gets a little bit of romance in this book as well. I just love all of the characters that we are introduced to. Obviously, there's bad guys that we're introduced to that I obviously didn't like. Now, guys, I mean, you're gonna know what book it is because it's gonna be in the thumbnail, but oh my gosh, I'm so excited to present to you. The next book we are going to be reading is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I am just a couple of pages in. I am really enjoying this book. It has been the tiniest little bit for me to understand. There has been times where I have to reread the same like sentence. It's written so beautifully, and I sometimes just have to reread what we read because it's a little hard for me to understand sometimes. It reminds me a lot of Divine Rivals, the way that it's written. This one I think is a little bit more like poetic sounding, a little more like in depth of the descriptions, I feel like, but still the way that the writing is so beautiful and poetic and just like it being historical fiction and talking about gods, it reminds me a lot of Divine Rivals, which is amazing because I loved that book. So reading this, it's perfect. Now to some reading. I'm so excited. This is just all I want to do with my life. Like, just lay on the couch and read. It just feels so good. This is, I wouldn't say it's fantasy, but it does have some sort of like magic sense to it. Our main character has been alive for hundreds of years, and it says it in the synopsis, so it's not a spoiler, and it starts, I'm so sorry, that was rude. It starts, I believe, in the 1600s, and we have dual timelines. We're going from the 1600s to the 1700s, and we've gone to the 2000s. I have also been highlighting a lot, and what's awesome about this handy dandy Kindle is I can show you what I've highlighted. It's reminding me a lot of my trip. I just got back from New York. It's reminding me so much of New York. Like, New York has been on my mind. I fell in love with the city, and I have that city so near and dear to my heart. And since I just left New York, the feeling is still so vivid, and she's experiencing things that I experience, and it's just really fun. Like, I'm able to like understand and resonate with the character. Let me show you one of the ones that I highlighted. It says, they are a sea of strangers, unfamiliar faces in unfamiliar clothes and unfamiliar voices, calling unfamiliar words. It feels as if the doors of her world have been thrown wide. Oh my gosh, that reminds me of New York City. Being in New York, you see all of these strangers and you hear all of these languages of people all around the world speaking,
and you see people who are having fun with fashion, and you see people dressed up, and it's just oh. I also just want to read so many books about New York City. Oh my gosh. Okay. Books she has found are a way to live 1,000 lives, or to find strength in a very long one. So beautiful. It makes me want to go. I'm living through these characters and living all these lives. It feels so freaking cool. There's a reason why this book is extremely popular. So, in the next hour, this is where I'm gonna be. What more can a girl want? You know, what more? I wanted to talk about the audiobook that I'm actually currently listening to. I didn't plan on like sharing it, but I thought, hey, since I'm already recording a video about tackling my physical TBR, why don't I also talk about the audiobook? As you can see here, I have the physical book, but I decided to listen to it instead, especially because it's actually Emily who is narrating it. So this is My Body by Emily Ratajkowski. What would I do without you? Emily Ratajkowski. She is a very famous model, actress, just like celebrity, and she came out with her own memoir. I am already way over halfway done. Like I am 60% through, and I still just decided to talk about it because of how much I am enjoying it. And since this is tackling my physical TBR, why not talk about it? Wow. I think she is so freaking cool. It's so cool to be able to hear someone tell their story, and not necessarily from like the very beginning, but just hearing their story. I feel that it is so empowering for someone to write a memoir and to say like all their dirty secrets and like everything that they've gone through, even when it's really hard to like hear or read. I find this respect and just like fondness from people who write memoirs, and I just love them so much. When I tell you that I feel like I'm able to live through this woman being a model, I don't know how to explain it, but because as a kid I wanted to be a model so bad, then listening to a memoir where they are a model, I feel like I'm able to live through them, or at least just like hear what it's truly like. And when I tell you, it is brutal, and I knew it was brutal. Like growing up, I knew modeling, the industry is brutal, and she talks about it so much, how they just make women feel like they are not enough, not tall enough, not thin enough, their nose is just too big, like whatever it is, these people criticize the hell out of you. And it's just so crazy to hear about her experience becoming a model. She talks about the relationship that she has with her parents and with her friends. She talks about her high school experiences, her boyfriends that she's had. She talks about going to auditions for movies. She like talks all about the world of modeling. There's so much more into it too. Like she doesn't give it to you lightly. Like she tells you all of the hardships that she went through, so definitely search up trigger warnings, because there's definitely a lot of things that are really hard to hear. But I just, whenever I read a memoir or whenever I listen to a memoir, I just become so fond of the person and just like so much respect for them. I highly recommend this book. I think it was done so well. She's also the one that narrates it, so it's so fun to listen to an audiobook and they're the one that's narrating it. And I just am such a big fan of Emily now. Like I'm obsessed with her. Like I think she's so freaking cool.
guys, it has been a few weeks since I've done a reading update. I came with bad news. I mean, it's not bad news, but it is. I have been reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I am around like 50% way through the book. I think I'm reading it on my Kindle, so this isn't like completely updated. I'm going to be DNFing the book. Stop, why am I being so dramatic? It's just making me so sad. I started reading it with the physical book. I was having a hard time just like picking up the book. So I was like, you know what? Let me pick it up on my Kindle. Started reading it on my Kindle. Was hard to pick it up on my Kindle. Then I was like, okay, let's listen to the audio format of this. Like, let's listen to the audiobook. It always is so much easier to listen to the audiobook if I'm having a hard time getting through the book. And I was still having a hard time. And so what I like to do is if I have a hard time physically reading a book or just like reading a book, just having a hard time getting through it, then what I like to do is then pick up another book. And normally then just like balancing the two, and ends up making me more excited to read the other one. And I've done it many times. I've been able to get through books with picking up another one. So I ended up picking up The Score by Elle Kennedy, and then I ended up going like 2 weeks with no reading. And I'm not even necessarily in a book slump. This was all my thoughts last night when I was going to sleep. I was like, I don't feel like I'm in a book slump because I have been interested in reading. I'm wanting to read. But when I pick up The Score or The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, I'm just like not interested. Like I said, I was listening to the book and I am not retaining any of the information while listening to it. So when I tell you that I'm DNFing this book, I feel really sad, but I told myself as a 2024 goal that if I'm in this situation where I have tried many ways to consume this book and it's just not working, if it's in a way putting me in a book slump because I haven't been wanting to read, then I definitely have to put the book down and just pick up another book. I don't hate this book. It's not that it doesn't interest me. For whatever reason, it's just not working with me right now. So all of this to say is the day-to-day, I have not been picking up a book. I think last night I finished a chapter of The Score, but before that, I want to say it has been at least a full week of picking up an actual book, and it has been a couple of weeks since even doing a reading update. So what I've come to the conclusion is I'm gonna DNF it. It's not that I'm not gonna read this book. It's just right now I'm not going to. I would love to dive back into this book. The story is wonderful. It's so unique and I'm loving the adventure of this book, but for whatever reason, it's just not working with me right now, and that's okay. I still am very fond of the book. This honestly feels like the right book, wrong time sort of thing. I definitely see myself picking this book back up, but I just have not been able to get through the book, and I'm going to just end it here. Honestly, I like that I'm documenting this because as a YouTuber, as a small reader, as a small YouTuber, as a slow reader, having times like these is really hard to just like accept because I want to do 24-hour reading thons where I finish 6 books, but that's just not who I am. And since I don't really see, or like just at least I don't watch that many slow reader YouTubers, it's a little hard to just like admit to myself that the videos that I'm going to be making, it's about me having to DNF books, it taking me months to finish a book. I feel like I just need to show this so that if you're in the same shoes, not necessarily making this type of content, but just it taking you forever to finish a book, like you're not alone. You're not. Like, not everyone can finish a book in 2 to 3 days, but when I don't really enjoy it, when I love it, it will take me 2 to 3 days, a week to 2 weeks. If I finish a book in 2 weeks, that is really, 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 really good for me. Hopefully that word dump made sense. Basically, I just want to show you guys that not everyone can finish a book in 3 days, and not everyone can do these, you know, tackling physical TBR and it be easy. Before I let you guys go, I am going to update my notes app where I have every single book that I haven't read in a list from 1 to 140. And I'm going to then now take off the books that I have read and just feel a little bit of dopamine with finishing it. Dopamine. And just feel a little bit of dopamine with tackling my physical TBR one book at a time. Okay, so as you can see, I'm currently reading the score. So hopefully, I don't see myself DNFing that book, but hopefully I finish that book soon. So with My Body, let's take that one off. And then The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, we're just gonna take off the book. And then Things We Hide from the Light, let's take that off. And did I really only bring you guys along for those 2 books? Oh boy. Hopefully this video was interesting, because I was really hoping to have another book in this video and it just didn't work out. So with that being said, as we can see here, we still have 138 more books to go. Slowly but surely, we are getting through this TBR. That is going to be it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed coming along with me. This was a very realistic tackling my physical TBR. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!